Hello everyone, Yamina here from Dr Gpcr. First, I'd like to thank the organizers for allowing me to present today to you about Dr Gpcr. I will keep this presentation short, and I have two little points I'd like to talk to you about. First, a little bit about me, and then a little bit about Dr Gpcr. I moved to Montreal, Canada as a teenager, and I studied biochemistry at the Department of Biochemistry at the University of Montreal, where I first heard about GPCRs in Michel Bouvier's class as an undergraduate student. This led me to completing a master's and a PhD in biochemistry, still at the University of Montreal, and I worked on chemokine receptors, which resulted in 8 peer-reviewed published papers. Then I moved to the center of the world, New York City, where I spent a few years at the Rockefeller University in Tom Sackmar's lab before going to NIH, the National Institutes of Health in Maryland, Bethesda. During all this time, I continued working on GPCRs. I used BRET, among other techniques, to study the structure and function relationships of chemokine receptors. Before founding Dr Gpcr, I spent some time working in a small biotech company in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where I worked on Class B GPCRs. When COVID hit, my position was made redundant at the company, and that's when I came up with the idea of a GPCR-focused podcast. As I couldn't get GPCRs out of my system, I decided to establish Dr Gpcr, which is more than a podcast. So the goal of Dr Gpcr is to bring together under the same umbrella all key stakeholders that can help accelerate GPCR-focused drug discovery, and the final goal being to improve human health. This includes academics, biotech, pharma, and companies supporting GPCR research with their consumables and instruments. How do we plan on doing this at Dr Gpcr? We've established multiple programs to help the GPCR field exchange, share expertise, and information. These include the Dr Gpcr podcast that you can listen to at drgpcr.com/podcast. Join your colleagues who listen to our podcast over 3,000 times so far. You can subscribe and listen to previous episodes wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned as we'll have a surprise guest come on the podcast in the upcoming weeks. I feel lucky to have had the chance to speak to scientists about their work and career. These scientists include Brian Roth, Graciela Pinheiro, Arun Shukla, just to name a few. If you'd like to chat with me on the podcast, reach out to me at hello@drgpcr.com or find me on Twitter at drgpcr. The second program that we have established at Dr Gpcr is the Dr Gpcr monthly newsletter, which brings you the latest on GPCR research each month. Join 600 of your colleagues by subscribing to the newsletter at drgpcr.com/newsletter. And last but not least, we brought you the first Dr Gpcr Virtual Summit this past September. We've had 30 talks, 400 registrants. In case you missed it, the talks are still available to watch at drgpcr.com/summit. Also, be ready for next year's summit. We want to expand the summit, and we look forward to seeing you at the summit. Last but not least, I'd like to thank the Dr Gpcr team for working relentlessly to move our programs forward. I'm also grateful to all of those who reached out to me to tell me how much they appreciated the podcast, the newsletter, and the summit this year. If you'd like to learn more about Dr Gpcr, visit us at drgpcr.com or email us at hello@drgpcr.com. We're always happy to hear from you. You can also support us by visiting drgpcr.com/support. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.